This month, we have explored and experimented with the idea of turning points that lead to different tipping points. Turning point ideas founded and grounded on our basic science of mind and unity teachings. We've taken 5 of these basic teachings and have called them turning point views. They are turning point number 1. God is an energy of love and creation that flows through all, surrounds all, is all, which includes me. Turning point view 2. The universe has my back and is constantly conspiring for my good. Boy, do we need to know that, huh? Turning point 3. I create my world with my thoughts, beliefs, and energetic frequencies. You create your world with your thoughts, beliefs, and energetic frequencies. It doesn't do any good to blame somebody else for what you're doing. Turning point 4. After doing what I am called to do, I can surrender to the universal flow of life, and that's with a big capital L, because it will take over and handle the details. You ever think about that? You set it on the path, you start going, and life takes care of itself. And turning point 5, I am inherently worthy simply because of who I am. You are worthy because of who you are. Reach out in that love. And come back here next week, and if we have the time to do it, which this week has been chaotic enough to not guarantee, we will have these available in a nice frameable handout, and we'll try to have those for you next week. Put them where you can see them and say them. Read them, talk them, do things with them all the time. And we have said that if on a consistent and ongoing basis we live from these turning point views rather than from a lot of what the world's views are, we will tip over into what seems to be the miraculous. Remember we talked about that last week? And that is our theme for today, achieving the miraculous. But here's a little secret. It's not really miraculous. Rather, simply the way life works. Ernest Holmes wrote in Questions and Answers in the Science of Mind, a miracle is merely something we are not accustomed to seeing or experiencing. In reality, there are no miracles, for what seems to be a miracle is but the effect of a supremely natural law. The faith that can bring about the least demonstration can bring about the greatest. Think about that. There's nothing you do that's minuscule. Anything you do can bring out the greatest changes in the universe. And Charles Fillmore in Talks on Truth wrote, God never performs miracles. Let me say that again just to make sure you're awake. God never performs miracles. If by miracle is meant a departure from universal law, whatever the prophets did was done by the operation of laws inherent in being and open to the discovery of every man and woman. That's something that always bugged me when I was reading the Bible and everything, the generic man. You know, we want to be men. Then we can sit around and let the women do the work, which is what happens a lot, huh? You guys get to work while we sit around and tell everybody how good we are. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not that good. I'm still striving every day, and you should be too, and reaching out in love to the entire world. And we have experimented during these times with having faith in the turning point views and creating miracles, and I hope you had some fun with the experiments. Think for a moment. Where are you frustrated in your life? Here's something that I know that I know that I know, but sometimes forget to apply. Frustration, I just love this. Write this down in your head. Frustration is a repelling emotion. You ever think of that? Frustration is a repelling emotion. When you are frustrated about something, it doesn't mean, boing, you're going to get it. It means you're pushing it away. Because you're feeling, well, I don't have it, and I'm probably never going to have it, and it's just out there someplace, and I'm just going to give up. Well, that's a good way to do it, isn't it? Frustration is a repelling emotion. When we are frustrated at not receiving that which we have prayed about or intended, we push it away just as much as if it were physically in front of us, and we shove it back. And we may know this, but knowing and doing are two different things, which is why it is so important that we absolutely embody the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Stand guard at the portal of your mind. Stand guard at the portal of your mind. To me, that says don't let stuff in there just because it's walking through or creeping over the trestle. Stand guard at the portal of your mind, so that when we are frustrated, we can notice it and do something about it. No one can do it for you, only you. You can change the universe by taking charge. In the foreword to Pam Grout's book, E Cubed, written by Gabrielle Birdstein, the only reason you're not aware of the nonstop stream of blessings and miracles is because you're looking in the wrong places. And I'll add, we've got our eyes closed. With just a little willingness and awareness, it's amazing what can happen. So, I want to know who has actively engaged in all of the experiments last week's and the weeks before and had success with all of them. Wow. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Huh? Say what? Okay. Thanks, Eric. Today, we are going to look at M&Ms. Ready there? Not the candy, but rather miracle and mindsets that are ways of looking at life through the lens of some of our turning point views. So let's jump right in. The first miracle mindset is, what else is possible, versus this is just the way it is. Notice the difference between those two? Pretty heavy duty. It may be the way it currently is, but it isn't the way it has to be. The truth is an infinity of possibilities exist. The only reason our lives look the same today as they did yesterday is because that is where we invest our energy. We invest it on the what is. We miss the miracles because we focus only on what is known or the current condition. Something I speak about on that from a totally different realm. When you are in a situation where you're perhaps in law enforcement or something, where there are people somewhat conflicting, and maybe they're picking on you, we do something, and it's ancient survival technique, where we tunnel our vision. And instead of seeing everything out here, we go in and go in and go in until we're looking just at the person or people that seem to be causing us the problem right then. When that happens to you in the future, think to yourself, what do I see around the edges? I don't have to just sit here and look at you. If I'm looking at you, what can I see out here? What can I see out there? Those are where my opportunities lie. Those are where the chances come. This is just something along the road. We take so often the things that we're looking at and we make them the absolute. No. Think about the edges. What is out here? That's a great way to get rid of your tunnel vision, by the way. I'm going to read this to you because I like it so well. It says, "It may be the way it currently is, but it isn't the way it has to be. The truth is an infinity of possibilities exist right here, right now. The only reason our lives look the same today as they did yesterday is because that is where we invest our energy. We invest it on the what is. We miss the miracles because we focus only on what is known or the current condition." The Science of Mind on page 162, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Because we fail to realize that principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and few miracles result. When faith finds its proper place under the divine law, there are no limitations, and what are called miraculous results follow." Miraculous results follow. Think about your life. Stop for just a minute and think about your life, and think about when some things have occurred that just, if you pardon the expression, blew you away. And you thought, I never thought that could happen. Like my vision or dream, whatever it was 2 nights ago, I've never felt that way in a dream. It was devoid of these you gotta do's in a dream. It was just there. A fantastically breathtaking time. That to me was a miracle. And you can have that for yourself too. It is your mission, as Charles Fillmore wrote, to express all that you can imagine God to be. Express all that you can imagine God to be. Let this be your standard of achievement. Never, never lower it, nor allow yourself to be belittled by the cry of sacrilege. You can attain to everything that you can imagine. If you imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to you. Wow. Whatever possibility your mind conceives, that is for you to attain. Reminds me of the old one from Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's you. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to you. Whatever possibility your mind conceives, that is for you to attain. This is the law. Let none belittle himself or dwarf the supreme by trying to annul it. All things that are mine are thine, and thine are mine. Wow. Do you get the feeling of these things we're saying this morning? Do you find yourself just humming from them? If not, wake up. If you're experiencing a part of your life right now that you would like to experience differently, ask yourself, what else is possible here? And if you give yourself an argument, here's the question that has saved my bacon more than once. What would I do next if I didn't think this was impossible? And then do it. Huh? Performing miracles isn't a matter of doing the impossible. It's a matter of redefining the possible, and we can do that because of Turning Point View 2 that says the universe has my back and is constantly conspiring for my good. Now that's one thing that, again, that's hard for us to believe, isn't it? The universe has my back and is constantly contriving, conspiring for my good. Now, how many people say, the universe has my back and boy, is it messing me up? And Koa, you knew that was coming, but you weren't going to go along with it, huh? Here's another one. It's a piece of cake versus it's hard. In E-Cube, Pam Grout writes on page 203, hard is a four-letter word that is one of the most dangerous words in the English language. It is especially damning when combined with something you want to accomplish, such as lose weight. Oh, isn't that fun to play with? I think about that. About changing your thinking. Attract money. Get a hot date. All of these things are changing thinking if you want to do it. Because our beliefs are so powerful, literally sculpting our lives on a moment-by-moment basis, to believe and especially to say out loud that anything is difficult is extremely counterproductive. If we expect things to be hard, we can certainly create life that way. How many of you have ever been in a life situation that you really created as hard because you didn't look at it closer? Piece of cake. But remember our turning point view. After doing what I am called to do, I can surrender to the universal flow of life with a capital L, because it will take over and handle the details, so it really is a piece of cake. Number 3, I am connected to everything versus I'm all alone. Boy, we have a trouble with that one, don't we? How often do you feel all alone? You're trying so hard, you say, to make things happen, but you accept that you're all alone. Here's a definition of a miracle that I really like. A miracle is a shift in my perception that has removed any blocks to my awareness of the presence of God right here, right now. Most of us would say, if we have a belief or we have a faith, that God is present. But do we always feel that way? Do we always see that? Do we always know that? The miracle is the shift in perception that removes the block, not in God, but in us. So that is right where we are. We can feel and be guided by and open to the experience of the presence, the power, and the companionship of God. And that last one is really a biggie. So that was our last experiment, remember? In the Course in Miracles, it says that if you and I are not experiencing miracles on a daily basis, it is we who are out of alignment with the universe. It isn't that we have to call God in to make miracles happen. It is that we have to bring our attention to the presence of the divine universe, and miracles become natural. Religion has emphasized, look what God can do. But our master teacher, Jesus, emphasized, look what humanity in God consciousness can do. How's that for a challenge for you, huh? One is looking for miracles from God, which is to abandon personal responsibility. The other is knowing that God can do the seeming miraculous through us. It is knowing that we are the miracle and that we can do what Jesus did if we awaken to our miracle self as Jesus awakened to his. And when I was reading this, I was remembering an old joke. It's probably not fitting, but I loved it, so I thought I'd share it with you this morning. A rabbi from a Jewish faith and a Christian minister were talking one day, and they were talking about what went on in life and what they did and all. And the rabbi said, well, you know, Reverend, we're always talking about the same thing here, but how far can you go in your faith? Well, the minister thought a minute, and he said, well, We start out and we'll go to seminary or a Bible school, and then we'll work at it and learn all we can in there. The rabbi said, uh-huh. And the minister said, well, then you can become ordained and become a minister. The rabbi said, uh-huh. Well, after becoming a minister, if you work very hard, you may become a minister over several churches. Uh-huh. Well, you can go through that, and you can learn many things to do to help people, and you can build a whole faith if you want to. Uh-huh. And you can become the leader of a section of that faith. You can start your own Bible center. You can do all of these things. Uh-huh. Well, you can go on and you can create a new religion. Uh-huh. Well, why do you just keep saying, uh-huh? You know, that's as far as you can go. The rabbi said, really? The minister said, well, you know, you can do all of these things, and the only thing you can do after this is be Christ. The rabbi said, one of our boys made it. Something to think about, isn't it? Miracles are what happened when we are in harmony with the divine in us. When we take Ernest Holmes' advice in The Science of Mind at page 358, he said, there is a place in our mentality, in the heights of our greatest realizations, where we throw ourselves with complete abandon into the very center of the universe. There is a point in the supreme moment of realization where we merge with the universe, where a sense of the oneness of all life so enters our being that there is no sense of otherwise, of otherness. I think that was my dream a couple of nights ago. It is here that the mentality performs seeming miracles, because there is nothing to hinder the whole from coming through. And we can do this only by dwelling and meditating upon the immensity of life and the fact that as vast, as immense, as limitless as it is, the whole of it is brought to the point of our own consciousness. Miracles happen, my friends, when we recognize and live the turning point view that says God is an energy of love and creation that flows through all, surrounds all, is all, which includes me and you. A priest, a rabbi, and a religious science unity minister decided to go on a fishing trip together. They went down to their local lake, rented a boat, and went out on to the lake for a day of fishing. As the afternoon approached, the trio got hungry and realized that they left their lunches on the shore of the lake. So the priest got out of the boat, walked across the lake, got his lunch, walked back and sat down, beginning to eat his lunch. You should have gotten all the lunches, scolded the religious science minister. So she got up, walked across the lake, picked up her lunch as well as the rabbi's, walked back across the lake, and sat down, handing the rabbi his afternoon meal. The rabbi at this point is almost out of his mind, his eyes wide with shock. Finally, he manages to sputter, "How did you do that?" The priest grinned at the religious science minister, nudged her, and whispered, "Do you think we should tell him about the rocks?" To which the religious science minister, with a raised eyebrow, replied, "What rocks?" As we bring our turning point views into our experience by embracing these M&Ms, miracle mindsets, and making them a part of who we are, we achieve the miraculous. We see the world in an entirely new light. We see that everything is a miracle. Indeed, everything is holy. With that in mind, let us pray. I am aware of the presence that is in this room and in me right at this moment. I know that there is a power in the universe for good and that I can use it, and I use it every day to bless myself, to bless those around me, to erase nasty and negative deeds from the past, and to move forward with love into all the beauty and love we can want. And I know that as I practice this belief, this honesty, my life is changed. I know that life becomes worth living and people don't give up. And so it is. Amen.